I always said to myself, if I ever come in a position where I'm able to win a race,
Hmm.
I'm gonna take it. It's just normally you're not in that position, you know?
Hmm.
And suddenly I was there and I was just like, okay, this might be your only shot.
Hmm.
So you have to take it. And I just was, yeah, suddenly all luck added up at once, and I was really happy and lucky to pull away with the gold.
Hi and welcome everyone to today's interview. I have Maria Therese Tviberg with me. She's a former Norwegian ski racer and world champion in alpine skiing. I feel incredibly honored to have you with me today and also look very forward to getting to know you a little throughout the interview.
Hi, so happy to able to join. I am currently living a little bit busier life than or different life than I was before as a skier. So unfortunately, I had to take this interview today by walking, but hope everything is okay, and I'm ready to interpret.
Amazing. Yes, we can still hear you loud and clear, so that's all good.
Good.
All right. I'd say we just start with your beginning of your career. When did you start skiing and when did you realize that you can actually make it as a professional skier?
Uh, I guess there's a lot of different ways to enter skiing, but for me it was really early. I was one of those that knew from the start that I wanted to be a skier, and already at the age of 8, I started skiing, and I lost a race. Actually, my mom entered me into a competition. She thought I was so good, and she chose to enter as 1 year older than I was supposed to enter into, and then I lost really hard, and I just hated losing so bad at something I was so passionate about. And then I just decided I wanted to be as best as I could, and after that, my dad said, "Okay, if that's what you want, we can try that." And then it's just been progressing from there, I guess. They've always, how do you say, like, laid everything out for me, but it was always my choice, and I'm really, really grateful for their help. So I knew
Amazing.
from a really young age.
That's very cool. And also, apparently, a very good strategy from your mom to put you
Yeah,
in that very spirit.
activate my how do you say, my
Your hunger for
yeah, my
racing sport.
inner, like you say, hate losing, and just had to be the best.
Perfect. And what would you say is or was the hardest part when like climbing up the different levels in ski racing from national races to European Cup and then World Cup stage?
I think as a Norwegian, like the level is quite different in Norway and the rest of Europe. So for me to start skiing in Europe was like tough, because like I was really good in Norway, and then coming to Europe, suddenly I had to be much better, and then I was suddenly able to adapt to that level, I guess, and started to perform in Europe as well. And then the injuries started kind of for me, and to get back from an injury time after time, it's really tough. So like a combination, I would say, like going from being really good in your home country and then entering into Europe and really trying to like compete against the Austrians and the Swiss and the French. In Norway, I would say like it's maybe 10 good skiers, but then you come to Austria, it's maybe 50 good skiers,
Mhm.
So suddenly to be, if you did a bad race, suddenly you would be like at 50th place in a normal FIS race, and in Norway you would still be top 10. So it was quite the change, I would say, that you really had to perform at your best all the time. And then, of course, to, um, yeah, how do you say, deal with all the injuries after all, injury after injury is also quite challenging. Even though I was always motivated, it's still tough when everybody else can ski and you just want to ski too.
Mhm. Oh yeah, of course, I can imagine. Would you maybe say that with seeing that you have to really give it all the time with the international races, that you then got more injured because you took more risk? Was there like a correlation, or was it just bad luck, so to say?
I would say like maybe it's a like obviously when you I've never thought about it that way, but it maybe that's for sure something that played a part, that you suddenly have to perform your best to do a good result before you could perform less good and still have a good result. But I also skied more speed in the start of my career, and that's also for sure it's more injuries in speed. So maybe like a combination, but for sure it played a part. That's not a bad suggestion.
Hmm. And was then the main reason for changing from speed to more tech later on the injury risk, or were there other reasons as well?
Yeah, actually it was because I had skied then speed and tore my ACL 3 times, and I always tore my ACL in Super G and downhill, and then I fell on a jump. And
Mm.
as we all know, when you ski downhill, it's jumps. So at one point, I just didn't want to jump anymore.
Mm.
So then I chose to, or I actually said to my coach, like, I want to ski slalom and GS, and he said, haha, that's not possible. But he was able to put me down on the Europa Cup team for tech, and he said, just because it's you, I'm going to let you do this. And then he laughed. And I don't know, we've always had a really good relationship, and it just lit the fire in me. And then after that, I was able to accelerate in the same time there. I had already won the national championships in all disciplines, and I was able to. I guess that was one of the reasons, like, he couldn't really avoid putting me on any team. So already the year after, I scored points in GS, and I thought this is a really cool way of still skiing. I love skiing and with less risks.
Mhm.
So then I just kept on going there, and I really didn't think I would tear my ACL again. So for me, when I then tore my ACL again in the end of the 23 season, it was quite a shock, I would say. So
Mhm.
I really changed to the tech disciplines to have less injuries, but I still had some. I tore my ankle one time and then took the ACL again, and it took more time. Like, I had more years between the injuries.
At least something. So,
Yeah. So
oh
yeah,
man.
I was able to get the championship gold, so I'm very grateful.
Yeah, I mean that's amazing. That was actually my next question regarding all the amazing achievements you got. So you not only won a bronze medal at the Winter Olympics 2022 with the team event, you became, like you said, world champion in parallel 2023, and again in the team event, you became vice world champion with your team in Norway in Courchevel Maribel, where the world championships happened. Um, Amazing. That's something you
Thank you.
can all be so proud of, you and the team as well, of course. Um, Maybe you can take us through your emotions of your competition, like when you became world champion in parallel. Can you take us through your last run? Was it how have you been able to stay focused? Did you apply any special strategies? Were you in your zone naturally? What happened?
I think for me that's a really funny thing because first of all, I fell during the final, or the bronze, I guess the bronze final, when we skied in the like the day before, because the team parallel and the parallel was like back to back. So I fell in the second last run, and the team pulled me from the final, and I was really pissed off. And on top of that, I was also I was really hurt, like not seriously, but I had a big bruise and had a lot of pain. So like I said to my service guy, like, I don't know if I will start the parallel because I have so much pain. And I know, or my physio, he's like, but we know your body. We try to give some painkillers, like easy stuff. And And then we just see, like, when you get the adrenaline pumping, normally for you don't feel pain anymore. So I was like, okay, I didn't really believe it, And then I ski the like, how do you say, in the afternoon I ski the qualification, and
Mm-hmm.
I was able to qualify in. And the next day it was a late start, so I could sleep in, and I woke up and I was feeling quite okay. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, okay, I'm actually feeling okay. Still have a bruise, but things are good. So I just went out and started to ski. I knew I was in a good shape. I had skied good in training, and had been really close to Thea.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew Thea was. I was going around the whole week like, Thea's gonna win. Thea's gonna win. So for me it was easy peasy. Thea was gonna win. I was super happy with being second. But like, if you look at like how we had been doing on training, we were really, really close. And I just skied, and suddenly I did the bronze final, and I beat Thea. And I was like, okay, Thea's not gonna win. And I was just really happy, like going. I remember going up to the start. I was just crying because I was so happy, because I knew that I had taken a medal, and for me that was like so huge. And I I don't know how I was able to pull it together, but I talked with my coach, and he was just telling me like, everybody wants to be in your position, and in a really nice way, like, get your shit together. And I just trusted in myself, and I always said to myself, if I ever come in a position where I'm able to win a race,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take it. It's just, normally you're not in that position,
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly I was there, and I was just like, okay, this might be your only shot,
Mm-hmm.
so you have to take it. And I just was, yeah, suddenly all luck added up at once, and I was really happy and lucky to pull away with the gold.
That's amazing. Would you say that the semi-final was maybe a little bit tricky in terms of nerves because it's not secured that you get a medal, but the finals, then it's either first plus the second, so it's clear that you have one. It's just the difference which color, basically.
Yeah, I think like in one way, yeah, you're right. Like, to be in the bronze final, it's tougher, or a semi-final, it's tougher because you don't know. But in one other way, like when you're in the final, you're so close to getting what you want and what you worked for, and it's like, but you're right. Like, if you lose the semi-final, like, you have nothing. But there you already have nothing, if you know what I mean. Like, so when you finally are in the final, you come to a point where it's like, okay, shit, I'm really close to getting it all.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah,
So amazing that you got the first one then.
yeah, it was really fun, and I was so proud and just happy. And especially when you have all those injuries, I just feel like, when you're in the gym, you have to think about something, or you have to find something that will motivate you. And for me, I always use those kind of moments as my motivator. Like, I remember I was training in the same gym as Kjetil Jansrud, and we had this bar where it would say like Sochi 2014, and he won the gold in the Sochi after his ACL. And I just remember, like, it was there for years after Sochi 2014, and I just remember looking at the bar and being like, okay, he did it, he trained for that,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just gonna train, and someday my moment will come too.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it finally comes, it's just like, in one way it's almost like a relief as well, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not just like uh, happiness, it's also like you're in one way I was just calm. I was just like, yes, I finally did it, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I can imagine. Yeah, it's a wild experience. I mean, it's really cool. Really,
Yeah, no,
that's
that was
awesome.
really fun. It was a good day.
Yeah, I can imagine it's a good coming world champion. Amazing. Maybe a kind of difficult question, but I'm very curious. Um, which maybe, let's say, mistakes have you made throughout your career that made you learn the most, actually, and maybe also prepare you for situations like nerves during, world championships or other very tense situations?
I think, like, in one way, I am a person that I don't regret a lot of stuff, if you know what I mean. Like, I always, like, I have a lot of teammates, or had a lot of teammates that would be like, come down after a run and regret not taking the chance, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always said to myself, like, I don't want to be put in a situation where I regret what I've done.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, in one way, that I never have, or it's not that many, at least, of those moments, but for sure, like, the first ACL I tore, my coach said, you need to make your belly into the jump, otherwise you're gonna fall. And I was like, no, I don't need a belly in there. And of course I fell and I tore my ACL, and that was like kind of the start. But like at the same time, like, it's an honest mistake. I was like 16 years old, and it's tough to be like, oh shit, that's such a stupid thing to do and you shouldn't do that. But it's really hard to like know what's right and wrong when you're that young. So maybe that. And I don't know, like, you can always like, I don't really like to think back and be like, oh, I should have done this or I should have done that. Like, I think you have to live in the moment and do as well as you can. But of course, like, looking back, maybe I should have done more tech earlier in my career, because I was already 24, 25 when I really started using all my time on tech. And or maybe I should have been smarter when doing speed. Like, it's always going to be something.
Mm-hmm.
um, but luckily I don't have like one thing that I think about all the time. I for sure wish I didn't have all those ACL injuries, and I wish I didn't have to think back on my career and have almost 5 or 6 years in total with injuries.
Yeah.
And I wish I could have used every single moment just skiing and performing. But it's also formed me, and it's made me a strong person, and I've learned. So let's say if I could at least take away 3 of those years, I would be grateful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
true. Yeah, yeah. I mean, also, if you don't regret things, I think it's also easier to find peace with your past, so it doesn't, eat you up at some point. I
Yeah.
think it's a healthy strategy as well.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like, in one way you say, thinking about the past and figuring out what we could have done better. It's no better science than
Mm-hmm.
looking backwards and saying what you should have done instead of what you did. But at the same time, it's what's done is done, and
Mm-hmm.
just have to look forward. For sure, I wish I was still skiing, but I'm also, I miss the team and I miss like everything around. But I'm also 30 years old. I had a really nice career, and I'm happy with where I am now. I can spend more time with my family and stay more at home, and for sure I will go and see the girls, and yeah, hopefully I am looking back at it as a really good and fun time. And maybe sometimes I wish, even though we said it when we were in the zone, that I wish we uh, cherished it more when we were in the moment, because you're really like looking to perform your best,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not always the recipe of enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so maybe sometimes I wish we got better at it, but at sometimes I wish we would have done it even more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to shortly come to the topic of injuries again.
Mhm.
You have had multiple ACL injuries distributed to both of your knees. Which of these was the hardest to come back from?
Good question. In one way, the easy question is to answer the last one
Mm-hmm.
because I never came back.
Yeah, true.
uh, no, but it got harder for sure every time. The first time you have no idea what you're handling. You just take it day by day, and you just have to, how do you say, like, go live as it goes, kind of. But
Mm-hmm.
the second time, you know what you did good, what you did bad. You know what was hard, what was easy. Maybe you learned a few tricks. Sorry, but also at the same time, you you oh, that's a tough one. Like, because in one way it gets easier every time you get injured because you know what to do, but in one way it gets harder because you know what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So uh, the first one was really hard because I didn't have that much backing, like from I was just in ski gymnasium, if you know,
Mm-hmm.
like college kind of.
Yeah.
And in the last one, I had a full support team, you know, like the full national team, full Olympic center.
Mm-hmm.
Had so much backing, like everybody wanted me to come back
Mm-hmm.
and perform. So obviously they did everything they could to make that happen. So maybe the first one in terms of the injury, because it was really hard and tough, and maybe the last one in terms of that I was not going back to sports, so it takes longer. I haven't put as much effort into it, so instead of like the injury maybe taking a year, it takes maybe 2 years, if you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
because it still requires the hours you put in. So as an active athlete, you use we actually was counting on the hours the other day. Like, let's say I've had rehabs where I've trained around 30 hours a week, and I've had rehabs where I trained 15 to 20 hours a week. So let's say an average of 20, 22, 23, and you do that for a year. And now my training hours is maybe 5 hours a week if I have a good week. So
Mm-hmm.
it's I always miss 10 to 15 hours per week, and you do that a year, then you miss a lot of hours.
Oh,
So yeah, so like my comeback this time, it's taking a little slower.
yeah. I can
And
imagine.
yeah, so that's different when you have to like combine it with something else.
Mm-hmm.
uh but I think for sure, the first time I got injured, I knew nothing and I didn't have that support. And the last time I got injured, I knew everything and I had a amazing support. So in one way, it's easier because you have the support, but
Mm-hmm.
also in another way, it's really hard because you've done it already 4 times and you have to do it again, and you know like exactly what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. It's not like a mathematic answer. Like you can just draw 2 lines under the answer. But if I could choose, I would, yeah, maybe do the first or second one because then you don't know that much. But maybe the second time you have learned from your mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I could read in articles that the main reason for you to retire was the unbearable anxiety to get injured again, like a sixth major injury.
Yeah.
Um, how did you then manage your anxiety before this last injury? Because it was already quite a lot. Was
Mm.
it just, did you just not feel that much, or was it, that worse now that any consequence of getting injured again now would be just unbearable for the future? What was the difference there?
Yeah, I think the first time for sure I was really young. I was 16 years old, so already when I was coming back, I was just 16 and a half, maybe. I was really young, and you don't think that much, and
Mhm.
you get older and older, and also the pain, I would say, increases a little bit. So that was a thing, but for sure, I was really debating if I should quit or not, because when I first retired, or when I first got injured, I was really sure that this would be my last injury, because I didn't want to continue skiing. But then my rehab was going really, really well, and I got really unsure because everything was working really good. Um, so I actually kept going. I was back skiing, and then I just could feel like I had amazing like backing from the team, and I had a really good program, and we had a really good plan.
Mhm.
But then suddenly something in me just flipped. So the reason I chose in the end, it's like I said also in the interviews, it's I don't have any more options if I get injured. If I get injured in my left knee, I have to take something from my right knee to repair my left knee, and vice versa. If I get injured in my right knee, I can never get injured in my left knee again. So uh, it was just too big of a risk to take. I'm only 30, so in one way I'm old, but in other ways I'm really young, and
Mhm.
I I still want to have my knees for a few more years. I don't want to change them. I don't. My right knee is really good, and I am intending to train and make my left knee the same um, shape. So for me to take that risk, it was just not worth it for me. And yeah, I just had to draw the line at some point and debate what was worth it and what was not. And in the end, taking the risk uh, of being injured again was not worth it for me.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, for the rest of my life, I would say was the reason.
Sounds
Mm.
reasonable. Um, I mean, as an athlete, your whole self-concept is basically based on being a professional athlete, of course. Like your teammates, your surroundings, the whole structure of the day, etc. But once you retire, like you did now, this part kind of breaks in a sense. And some athletes first lose their purpose in life or their perspective for the future.
Mm.
Did you kind of prepare for that step in advance as soon as you kind of realized, or was it smooth somehow? Did
Mm.
you still manage to do well the transition?
No, I think I'm very like naive. I just jump into it, and as everything else, as my injuries or as my life in general, I always think, nah, it's not gonna affect me. I have a plan. I chose everything. This is not a thing. I heard everybody else struggles with this, but nah, it's not gonna happen. But for sure, yeah, it hit me straight in the face, because I was lucky because a lot of athletes, they retire in March and the team goes on to spring training and then summer holidays. And when July comes, you should probably have a job, or you should probably continue skiing. Like you have to, you have to like take a choice. And
Yeah.
for me, I was lucky because I was still in rehab, and I was lucky to have the economy to not get a job yet, and I could I could focus on studying, and this I recommend for everybody, to have a backup plan for the
Mhm.
day that you retire, because you stop earning money and you have to have some kind of idea, at least if you want to study or if you want to work. And for me, it was not an option to do 3 years of school. So I already had done over a year of school,
Mm-hmm.
and I was only missing a little bit over, I was done with over half of my bachelor thesis. So I just speeded up my bachelor's and I just finished it now. So for me, I had a really hectic last year, combined with the rehab of my injury
Mm-hmm.
and also like seeing where I wanted to work. So for me, I was really lucky because I just stopped skiing kind of, and then I went into rehab, and I got like delayed the whole thing by doing rehab and being close to the team. At the same time that I was employed for a new firm, and they had hunted me, and I was really lucky with that. I was able to finish my bachelor. So in my head, I was like, everything's going to be fine because I have a plan. I am doing rehab. I will go into work. But it's been really hard. Like, and it's weird to explain it because in one way I didn't think it would happen because I was very happy with my decision.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I think it just happens to everybody, either you want it or not. Because at least for me, I went from an environment where it was really good and I had full support, and suddenly I went into an environment where I'm a realtor, so I have to perform.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm really passionate, but you have to start back at scratch and you have to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
And in one way, it's like I go into work and I want to perform as a top athlete, but there are no top athletes in work life. There, everybody's a little bit more chilled. So for me, it was tough to like start over, and I started missing skiing a lot. It took a while, but now for sure I miss skiing, but I don't miss performing, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I just miss being good at something and knowing what to do. And in another way, I'm really excited about my new life and eager to learn. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like for sure, and it's two different things. And it's, I really recommend like every athlete to at least have a little idea of what they want to do after, because then it's, the transition is really hard, but I think it's just a little bit easier maybe than when you're sad or don't know if you made the right choice, or maybe you made the right choice, you just still miss it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Because that was for me, like I knew I made the right choice, but I still really miss my old life.
Mm-hmm. Also, with regard to, with the difference of work life, I think everyone, also for myself, in the beginning, you just think like, I have no idea what I'm doing, but then you
Mm.
get used to it and then you get better, and then you will start realizing that you get better at something. And I
Yeah,
think it also drives then the passion a little bit more even. So I
yeah,
think it just takes a little bit of time.
yeah.
Um,
And I think it's really funny because like a lot of my friends have said to me like, okay, but how many years didn't you use to become good at skiing?
yeah.
And then the answer is like, I used my whole life. Yeah, obviously. Then of course I really hope for your sake that you were good at it. And because I remember like when I was in just doing rehab in school, I was really jealous of my boyfriend. He was going out every day, he knew what to do, he was working, and now I do the same. And it's just different, you know, because you have to find, I really have experienced that like my escape kind of in is to have like a routine. And then for me naturally has been choosing to work out. That has
Mhm.
been my routine. So I always wake up in the morning and I train, and that makes me feel more like myself.
Mhm.
And then I can go to work and be calm and do the other things, and then I still have the afternoon. But some days that's really hectic, you know, and some
Mhm.
days you just want to sleep in. And I think that's like made the difference for me now in life, that I after I got into that routine when I was done studying and I had more time to make a routine for myself, that has helped me a lot
Mm-hmm.
for my mental part, because you don't move, at least in my work, I don't move that much during the day. And
Yeah.
then if my head is tired and my body is like full of energy, um, that's not a good mix. So once I'm able to be more tired in my body and at the same time train and make some goals for myself, that has made the transition a little easier into like work life.
Mm-hmm. But do you still have some plans, for example, commentating or coaching, consulting athletes in the future? Maybe combine, realtor for a time, but also something sports skiing related in a way as
Hmm.
well.
Yeah, I think like I started last year I was commentating a little bit, but this year the TV rights have been really tough in Norway. Like not all the World Cups have been shown on TV, and the broadcasting channel that I was helping has not had any races this year. And also like my plan this first year was like, if I get asked, for sure I will say yes because I love skiing.
Mm-hmm.
But also I just wanna settle in life and not be like committed to anything big. Then I got this job offer and I kind of had to say yes. So then
Mm-hmm.
my plans changed. But I was like, I'm gonna say yes to everything that I'm offered if it's possible with my time schedule. But I'm not gonna add anything extra at the moment because
Mm-hmm.
I just wanna land in my own life and
Yeah.
see what I can do and how that is, and then I can add like extra stuff based on the time that I have left, kind of, because I have been traveling for 14 years on and off, maybe even more. And even with my injury breaks, I still haven't been that much home to just for me to be home, see my friends, plan, and just yeah, just be home. It's a new situation for me. So I just didn't want to fill up my time too much. So I was able to have the flexibility. And then maybe next year I will be more active and like see if it's more options. I've spoken with friends that has done more commentating after they retired, and they say they love it because you get this link. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's true. In one way, you do that, and so like maybe I will do that a little bit more and see like what the future will bring. And what was the other thing you asked about? You asked about commentating and
Coaching, coaching,
yeah,
consulting.
like in one way I would love to coach. I have like asked some of my coaches like if they thought it was a good idea or not.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and some say yes, some say no. Like it depends. So I don't have the. I think I have an unique experience. How do you say? Not experience, but like a background and knowledge. Like yeah, I don't think a lot of coaches can match that part. But I also miss some of the practical parts. I don't know how to set a course or how to film and that kind of stuff. So some coaches then see you as not a big enough resource, and other coaches see you as that's just not a big deal and you can learn it. And the passion is more like the important part. And also I think as a that sucks, but as alpine coach, I think male coaches are
Mm.
more popular maybe. So then to be unexperienced and trying to come in as a female coach, I don't know if I want it. I don't know if I would like it. I don't know if I would want to use my energy on it. But for sure, if the like I said, if the opportunity suddenly would present itself, for sure I would consider it because I have a lot to offer in that department. I would say, like I know how to talk with the girls. Maybe I know how they would feel, and yeah, maybe I would offer different sides to angles to an aspect.
Definitely, and I think like you said, it's easier to learn how to do videos when skiing, but it's not easy to get your experience, also your insights with comebacks and injuries and all of that. So I think that's super valuable. And also, you can set the trend of having more women coaches
Mm.
there. So that would be
Yeah. So we'll see what the future will bring. But right now I'm just at home and enjoying life, and at least now my school is done, and that's good. And then I for like every day that goes, I get more free time, and I'm
Mhm.
more available
Mhm.
to get new inputs, because it takes a little bit time to just land, come into like a new home and settle, and yeah,
Mhm.
just be ready.
I think it's also a fun time to try different things, see where you land, what do you like most, what you don't like. It's
Yeah.
an exciting time as well.
Yeah. So it's like frustrating and fun at the same time, because you have a lot of capacity to try different things, but you also then um, have a lot of capacity to try things you don't like, and then you get frustrated and sad, or you just like, yeah, you're like, oh, I thought I would like this and I didn't, and then you maybe, yeah, no, you go into, or at least I go into, I have to get better at going into things with not that high expectations, because
Mhm.
before everything had to be good or perfect, and now I'm just learning that life is more than just being high, like full gas, like all the time. You can relax and just enjoy, and it's really nice, but it's different.
Oh yeah, yeah, I can
Hmm.
imagine. I have one last question for you. Looking
Yeah,
back now at your whole career, your life as an athlete, what was or it doesn't have to be one, the
yeah.
most important value or values that you learned as an athlete that also help you now in your professional career and will help you in the future?
I think I learned a few things, mostly like how you treat people. Like, first of all, I think a lot of people, this is very common in every aspect of life, I would say. Normally, when you accelerate in a career or you do something good, you meet a lot of people. Let's say when you're climbing the ladder, like going up,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of those people you also meet on your way back down. So I think it's very important to meet people with respect and be kind,
Mm-hmm.
because this can ruin your reputation, because you might be very greedy on your way up, and then you don't meet the kind of treatment you want when you come back down.
Mm-hmm.
And I also learned to not be jealous, to
Mm-hmm.
admire, or um, to how do you say,
Like
not
appreciate.
accept, yeah, like to be okay that others do better than you,
Mm-hmm.
and to be happy for their sake, because that's very two separate things. If your life is good and you do something good, then I can be sad on my behalf, but I
Mm-hmm.
can also be happy on your behalf. And that you have done good doesn't mean that I have done bad, or I don't have to compare myself with you. It's two different stories. And I think, especially maybe in a girl environment, that's something that every girl should work on, because it's very easy to look at your friend and think that I should be like her, or "Oh, she's getting that done, why can't I?" and get jealous, instead of maybe learn or
Mm-hmm.
see what they are doing, or maybe just be happy for them, and trust that your time will come, because then you can just focus on yourself, and you can be happy for them, and you can work harder on yourself. It doesn't have to be, if I did bad and my friend does good, I did bad but my friend did good. It's not that she forced something on me that did made me do bad, and it's not like I helped her, but I can enjoy it with her, and I can, yeah, make her situation, I can be happy on her behalf, kind of. So I think that that's maybe something I really hope to take with me in every aspect of life. That
Mhm.
not be jealous, but try to see the other side of the story and be happy for others, and to learn and ask and try at least to put like my ego aside and just admire instead of be jealous.
Mhm.
And it doesn't mean that you have to accept that you're worse or did bad. It's more that you have to respect that the other person has also done a really good job, and that's admirable.
Absolutely. Amazing. By the way, there's also a very nice book. It's called Ego is the Enemy. Just came
Yeah.
to my mind. Yeah, where it's just also tackling what you just said. Kind of
Hmm.
ego is in the way of um, on your professional career, but also personal life. So fulfilling in
Yeah.
ways. So that's
And then I'll add that to my book collection now that I finally can throw my school books away.
sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for these very cool insights and nice lessons in the end of the interview as well. I had a lot of fun. Thank you so much for your time again. And I
No
wish you all
problem.
the best and happy to follow your journey on social media as well.
Thank you. Thank you. And I hope the interview was okay. I'm sorry I had to take the first part walking. And thank
Not,
you for having me.
of course. Thank you so much. And it was
Thanks.
cool to see you in action as well. So it's